Today on Brewing Around the Realm, we're learning to build a better starter kit. Welcome to Brewing Around the Realm, a place where we learn to brew beer one batch at a time. Today we're learning how to build a better brewing starter kit. Originally when we started, we purchased a GoPro small batch starter kit from Northern Brewer. The cost was $69.99, and it seemed like the best way to get started. What we found out while brewing our first batch of beer is that there's a lot more equipment and a much easier way to do this than buying a starter kit. In your starter kit, you end up with a lot of things you don't need, and several things that are of poor quality that you'll need to replace. First thing you need to figure out is what size batch of beer do you want to brew? Do you want to make a 1 gallon size, which is what fits in the small big mouth bubbler, or do you want to brew more? You want to brew 3 gallons, which is I think what we're going to do when we finally settle on our next batch of beer. 1 gallon is nice. It doesn't make much. It makes maybe 10 bottles of beer, give or take a little bit. It's a good experimental batch size. It's a good starter batch size. It's not something I think most people would want to do going forward. It's the same amount of work that goes into brewing a larger 3 gallon batch, and your beer is going to be gone in a week depending on how much of it you drink. If you drink 1 or 2 beers a night, you're only going to get a couple of days out of that. We chose to purchase a 3 gallon fermenter from morebeer.com. The cost was $24.99. If you do want to go with the smaller 1 gallon batches, the cost is $12.99 for the little big mouth bubbler. They're only available from Northern Brewer as far as I can tell. You'll need stoppers. These are fairly inexpensive. These smaller ones are for the small bubbler. They are $1.29 each. The larger one here for the 3 gallon was $1.49. They're really inexpensive. You should be able to find those online and at your local home brew shop. Your airlock. There are several different types of airlocks. These are $1.99. They should be fairly inexpensive. You can get either the S-Bubbler type. The nice thing about the S-Bubbler is it doesn't have any drawback. If you fill it no higher than the max line, when you put your stopper on, you won't have any chance of getting the sanitizer pulled back into the wort. The 3-piece one works very nicely. The 3-piece one works very nicely. It is what we started with. These are just a little bit more expensive, only 50 cents more expensive. These are $2.49, but you can get and use either type. It's a personal choice. When you brew your first batch, you're going to need to siphon your beer off into the fermenter, and then at some point you're going to need to get from the fermenter into your bottling bucket, which we'll cover in a minute. Our starter kit came with a auto siphon. It's decent, it works. You can buy a better auto siphon online for only $10.99. It is a better choice. It'll work better than this thing will, and you'll get better usage out of it. You will need the required tubing to move your beer around. Vinyl tubing is available just about everywhere. You want to make sure you get beverage grade or food grade vinyl tubing. This should cost you about 59 cents a foot. You're going to want to buy at least 10 feet. We have smaller 2 foot or 2.5 foot sections here. They're not quite long enough, but I haven't actually replaced them yet. By 10 feet, you can always cut it down. You can't make a short tube longer. When you get down to boiling your wort, you're going to need a kettle. We bought a 24 quart one from websteronstore.com for $24.49. The lid was extra. It was $11.99. You can get one at Sam's Club that's very similar to this. It was $36.99 when I checked the other day. If you're only brewing a small batch, you could probably get away with your home kettle. You probably have an 8-quart one in your closet at home, and you can start with that. You'll need a muslin bag. These are fairly inexpensive. Your local home brew shop will have them. They have them available on morebeer.com. They can range in price from 79 cents to $1.05, which is what this one cost at our local home brew shop. You're going to need one of these because you're going to do steeping grains at first. I don't recommend jumping in and going with an all grain setup first. You need to learn the ropes. We do extract brewing with steeping grains. It works for us. and we're probably going to do that for a good while before we jump to all grain brewing. You'll need your hydrometer and a test flask to test your specific gravity. These did not come with our kit originally, and we had to purchase them anyways. The hydrometer was $10.97 from Amazon. It's fairly inexpensive. It's accurate. It works. This is an indispensable tool, and you'll need a flask for testing. This was $7.89. It worked very well. It's nice. You need to know what your alcohol content is in your beer, and you need the specific gravity to figure that out. You're going to need to sanitize a lot of things. Our kit came with some Easy Clean sanitizer. We did not use this. It's a powder. You mix it in with your water, and it dissolves, and it is no rinse, so you don't have to worry about rinsing it off. But the recommended solution that everyone seemed to indicate was to use Star San. Star San seems to be the industry choice for home brewing. It was $8.70 for this little container. This is only 4 ounces. We've burned through most of this, and we've only made 2 batches of beer. Between brewing and bottling, you really need to get the larger bottle. You can get the larger one. Like I said, we started with the small one. It was $8.70. Once you've waited out the 2 weeks for your wort to ferment into beer, you'll need a few extra things, and we learned a few valuable lessons here on our first attempt. First thing you'll need, caps. These are fairly inexpensive. They come in multiple colors. These ones are red. We have orange ones and gold ones as well. Your starter kit comes with 20 caps to get started. You can buy 50 of them for less than what it would cost for the 20 in your kit. You'll need a capper. This came with our kit. You can buy a capper, a much better one than this, online for $16.99 from morebeer.com. It works fairly effectively. This one is very functional, and if it breaks, we will definitely be replacing this. You'll need a bottle filler. Our starter kit came with one. This is a gravity pressure bottle filler, which we had serious problems with. It's cheap. It doesn't work right. The gravity tip on the end here didn't function right. It was dripping beer everywhere when we filled our Chinook IPA for the first time. I definitely don't recommend this. You can get a very nice one online that has a spring in the bottom to keep your beer from flowing out. What you can do is attach your bottling wand directly to your bucket and fill right off of there. There's no need to attach this to some tubing. There's no need to move these things around. You can just attach it right to the bucket, bring the bottle to the bucket. That seemed to be a much better solution for us. Our bottling bucket we purchased from morebeer.com. What we did is we took our beer from the fermenter when it was done, moved it into the bottling bucket. That allowed us to take all the sediment and true from the bottom of the fermenter out of the equation before we bottled. We did not have to worry about siphoning that stuff off. All of our beer was into the bucket. We got the one with the hole in it already, and we just attached the spigot directly to the bucket, attached our bottling wand to the spigot, and we filled right out of here. Bottles, we put the bottles onto the bottom of here, filled it up. It worked perfectly right out of the box. What were our final costs? Overall, if you chose to go with a small batch, little big mouth bubbler, the final cost would be $105.46, which is far less than what we spent. We ended up buying the starter kit, which was $69.99. Additional little big mouth bubblers, which were $12.99. From there, we proceeded to buy the 3-gallon fermenter, the bottling bucket, a new bottling wand, and we ended up spending close to $200, all said and done. If you choose to go with the 3-gallon fermenter from starting, which is what our recommended solution would be, you can ferment a 1-gallon or 2-gallon or 3-gallon batch in a 3-gallon fermenter. You don't have to worry about filling more than one little big mouth bubbler if you want to do a larger batch. You can keep the big enough bubblers around. If you have more than one of them, they're great for test batches. You want to make something, you're not so sure you want 3 gallons of it. Hey, these are great. Keep them around. Our final cost with a 3-gallon kit is $117.66. I definitely recommend going with the 3-gallon kit. You'll have more flexibility in the end. What I did not include in those prices is the need to purchase a kettle. Most people will have an 8-quart or 2-gallon kettle that you can brew your first couple of batches with. You can brew smaller batches, and those will work out perfectly fine. If you want to go to 3 gallons and you don't have a kettle, you will need to get a kettle and add on the extra $37. I did not include shipping in any of our prices. Shipping prices will change. Thanks for joining us on today's adventure to learn how to build a better brewing starter kit. Please leave a comment or a question below if you have any. We'd be happy to help you build your starter kit and save money. Don't do the unfortunate thing that we did and buy everything twice. Thanks for joining us on Brewing Around the Realm today. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.